earlier today, the Senate picked John Thune as their majority leader over John Cornyn and Rick Scott. And in a statement after the vote, Thune said that this Republican team is united behind President Trump's agenda. And of course, there have been other selections today. Apparently, Matt Gaetz is going to be the pick for Attorney General. So here to discuss all of the things that are happening today is Matthew Peterson. He's the editor-in-chief for Blaze News, and Clint Brown. He's the president of American Path. So, Clint, let's start just with your assessment of Matt Gaetz and the Attorney General pick. I think that's the thing that everybody has kind of been talking about from the afternoon on.
Yes, it's been sending shockwaves through D.C. There are a lot of swamp creatures running scared right now. The question on everybody's mind is whether he can get confirmed in the Senate. Now, the margins are pretty good for Republicans for the first time in a long time. There are 53 Senate Republicans. That means that if once J.D. Vance is sworn in, Matt Gaetz could lose 3 votes, J.D. Vance could break the tie and still win. So we'll see how that plays out. I hope he gets the vote count. I think he'll be a fantastic Attorney General.
Yeah, so can you say just a little bit more about that before we move on to the Senate and the aftermath of the vote this morning? So when we look at Gaetz, I mean, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh my gosh, this doesn't have." He's a firebrand, right? Like his podcast was called, and he's out there, MAGA, whatever. What do you think it signifies, though, about what the Trump administration wants to do right from the get-go?
Matt Gaetz has been a fantastic articulator of all of the hoaxes that have been executed against Trump. He knows the ins and outs of it. He served on Judiciary Committee in the House and put up really great fights against the Russia hoax, against a lot of the other things that have happened. So I think it symbols that they're going to clean house. They're going to clean house at DOJ. They're going to clean house at the FBI. This weaponization of government is over. Now, the left is going to scream and say that Matt Gaetz is going to abuse DOJ. Okay. Yeah. Merrick Garland didn't abuse DOJ. Jack Smith didn't abuse DOJ. We'll see. I think Matt Gaetz is going to clean up DOJ and restore it to how the American people want. That's the mandate that President Trump has.
Well, I love it. Chuck Todd came out on X earlier today and said these confirmation hearings might just save cable TV in the short run. Something that would not save cable TV, it's behind closed doors. John Thune has been elected as the Senate Majority Leader. What is your take on what happened there on the floor to get to Thune as the Senate Majority Leader?
So what happened here is there were 3 people running, as your viewers know, Rick Scott, John Cornyn, and John Thune. Behind the scenes, there was an effort to get some reforms in this negotiation. The Senate has not functioned well since McConnell took over, and since Harry Reid took over before him. These reforms were adopted by all 3 candidates. Just today, Punchbowl phrased it as, Thune committed to several modest reforms to the conference's operating structure, including pledging an open amendment process, as well as prioritizing appropriations bills for floor time. I'll translate that for you. It means bills are going to be negotiated on the Senate floor in front of the American public, and they're not going to be throwing up these massive spending bills at the last minute. Now, Thune could always back down from that. Circumstances could change, but that's the promise he had to make to get the seat. And to keep the seat, I think he knows he'll have to keep that promise.
Okay, so when I look at this, I just think, not very long from now, it's not going to take long, we're going to be right into confirmation hearings, and the first tests are going to happen. And no matter what he says about, I'm MAGA, don't worry, Trump said, you got to let my people, let my people in, right? Right away, there's going to be pressure on him, and we're going to find out. Never mind the fact that in the next 2 years, presumably there's going to be, the administration knows they have 2 years to make good on their promises, and there's going to be an explosion of activity, and Trump is not going to be patient. He's going to be demanding, right, that Congress pass legislation. So when I look at this, I see it as we're going to find out very quickly, right, where Thune stands, and there's going to be, given what has happened in the last few days leading up to the vote, a lot of pressure on him. Is that right, or is that just even too optimistic? Maybe he doesn't care. It doesn't seem like McConnell cared. I don't know. You know this stuff. What will happen?
A few things will happen, Matt. First, any leader coming in right now is not going to have as much power as McConnell. McConnell didn't shut down the Senate in the way it operates. I won't get into the minutia until he had been leader of the conference for 6 years. And he also had a massive war chest behind him when he did that. Whoever's next, they don't have that kind of power. They're going to be susceptible to pressure. The conference has changed. They want something different. They heard the voters loud and clear. So that's the first point. And the second point is he will be tested, to your question, right away. And the test is actually whether he can resolve disagreement. Senators have their own prerogatives. They make decisions based on what's best for their state and their voters. Can he resolve disagreements about that? Fortunately, the Senate has a great process for resolving disagreements. You put a bill on the floor and you amend it until you get the votes to pass it, or you don't. And the same is true for nominees. You put them on the floor and you get the votes, or you don't. And then if you fail, you go back and try again with the same nominee until you get them confirmed. So it's just a question of whether he has the fortitude to persist in the face of obstacles, and a question of whether he can actually use the Senate, wield the power of the Senate to resolve disagreement.
Well, Clint, let's go rapid fire through some of Trump's other selections. He has Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. What was your thought on when you heard that officially announced there for Trump?
Well, my thought was I was ecstatic. We not only get Elon Musk, we also get Vivek Ramaswamy. Are you kidding me? This is huge. This is what the voters wanted. This is what they saw from both of these guys on the stage throughout the campaign. I was particularly excited by something that many people didn't notice in that announcement, which said that DOGE was going to be working with and through the Office of Management and Budget. Now, that may sound so bureaucratic and unknown, but the Office of Management and Budget controls all the levers of the administration. That's where the money flows through. That's where the decisions are made before they go to the president's desk. That is the perfect place to house government efficiency. We're going to cut the budget. We're going to manage these people a whole lot better, maybe manage them out the door. So I was very excited to see that. I hope they bring in Trump's last OMB director, Russ Vought, who is a fantastic conservative and a real fighter for President Trump, to manage that along with DOGE. We'll see if that happens, but I'm rooting for that.
That would be amazing. Bringing Russ back, amazing. So one more, Marco Rubio, from Little Marco to Secretary of State. What do you say?
You know, he has a way with people, and that's what you want in your top diplomat. So I'm excited about that. I saw some statements today, and I fully agree with them, that Marco Rubio has evolved from someone who was a little bit more interventionist to recognizing the global landscape, the threats we're in, that the American people don't want boots on the ground in combat. You want somebody who recognizes that to be your top diplomat. So I'm pretty excited about Rubio. I think he has the experience with several years in the Senate, a couple of presidential campaigns under his belt. And he's been, people may not realize this, he's been ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, where he has all the insight about what's going on. I think he knows where the bodies are buried at the State Department. And we're going to find out, too, where those bodies are buried.
Well, Clint, it's been just a whirlwind of a week, and it's only Wednesday right now. So I can't wait to see how the rest of this week is going to shape up, because Matthew Peterson keeps smiling. He keeps laughing. There's so much going on right now. It kind of feels like an early Christmas around here. So thanks so much for joining us and for breaking all this down for us.
I'm not tired of winning, Clint. I'm not tired of winning.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not tired of winning. And it is nice to see a difference going on in Washington. Everybody's like, wow, he's picking some of these unconventional people. Yes, that was the point.
I mean, it's just remarkable to see the possibility of, really a frontier, like an open space where, no, you actually don't know who's going to be selected. Your categories don't matter anymore, because God forbid we live in a democracy where the president can just choose whoever he wants to take over this kind of stuff. That is just a breath of fresh air. And when you know something, and all of you do, everyone in the audience does, when you know something about how people in D.C. think, the category of Donald Trump could be reelected again, that didn't exist. It doesn't exist in the D.C. mind. So that's already a cratering, soul-rending sort of moment. And then when he starts picking people, Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. Now it's time to run. What you got going on there is a sort of silence, and the only thing that you can hear right now in Washington D.C. is the shredder and people throwing out documents and quietly moving boxes around and getting the hell out.
Just gonna say, if they haven't started packing moving boxes yet, they certainly will be.